All right, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So we just finished recording my Yona of the Dawn Volume 15 video. So we're going to dive straight into Volume 16 here. So without further ado, let's get into it with Chapter 89, A Faceless Ally. And we have an my powerful allies are on their way. Just you wait, red-haired girl and people of the Water Tribe. You're about to witness my true strength, or something like that. Again, undercutting him as a villain just a little bit. And you have a Water Tribe garrison barracks, and you see a murmur as the soldiers are getting all ready. Yeah, the soldiers here certainly seem busy. It's like they must have noticed the fleet offshore. It's like that simplifies things. And Yona's like, are you really going to mobilize the troops? And Riri goes, Yona, whether it's drugs, Hyo, or something else, ultimately I don't think my people have a future unless they stand up against the damaging things that are invading us. So I have to do all I can to protect them. You have Riri as she goes running off, and you see two guards barring their way going, halt, identify yourselves. And you have, I'm here to see the captain. Captain Ramaru, what for? It's urgent, take me to him. So we're wasting time we don't have. We need to be more direct. Oh, sorry. I don't know if that's her or that's Suwon saying it. And he goes, this is Lady Riri. She's the daughter of Anjungji, chief of the Water Tribe. And the soldier's like, what? And Riri's just looking at him. Like the audacity of this bitch. You told him without asking my permission? And he's Yona looking in surprise. So you have a But that's... It's like, you've seen the fleet offshore, haven't you? This is an emergency summon. Summon your captain at once. Oh, sorry, Yona didn't know about that. That's why she's looking at her surprised because she didn't know she was the Water Tribe's chief's daughter. And you have what? You want to mobilize our troops against the Kai Empire fleet? Is that correct? It's like, but this is unprecedented. Even under your orders, I can't act right away. And you see Suwon going, bureaucracy. Worse bureaucracy under a chief who despises war. So, what's her next move? And you see a swip as she pulls out the box and goes, do you recognize this? She have it's like this can only be, and you see the little golden seal. She goes, indeed, just for those of you if you haven't seen it before. Sorry, no, the light kind of just makes it hard to get a good angle on it. It's like, indeed, this represents the Water Tribe Chief's authority, the Golden Seal of Water. You are unable to take action because of your loyalty to my father, Anjungji. I commend you for that. But our people's survival is at stake. You will obey me as if I were the Water Tribe Chief himself. And you see them all just kneeling and bowing to her. And they go, as you command, Lady Riri. We will gladly fulfill our duty to you. Unfortunately, with our current numbers, we're at a staggering disadvantage against that fleet. We need reinforcements. It's like, that's... And you hear Suwon going, I have a plan. It's like, one? It's like, this town's merchants will provide ships. You should all prepare and head to the docks at once. So you think we have a chance? It's like, I do. Besides, we have a secret weapon, don't we? The Thunder Beast. It's like, with him, it's impossible for us to lose. God. And you see a Haka later with a, hey, it's like, are you seriously putting them on a ship? And you see a bunch of ladies standing there. You have so many people. And I was just looking shyly away. It's like, now don't underestimate them. These ladies are traditional Sensui female divers. If you have an pleased to meet you. It's like, how do I respond to that? So could you save the group marriage meeting for later? And he's like, listen up, Hawk. It wasn't my idea. You said Riri's bodyguard wants to put these divers on a ship, right? Oh. Okay, I'm going to speculate before we get there that he's planning on having them basically go and drill holes, like create punctures in the ship's hulls to basically sink them. It's like, what's your impression of him? It's like, His commands were very specific. I'd say he's used to giving orders. So my intuition tells me he's trustworthy. Oh, God. Jeff, are you friends of Lady Riri's? It's like, huh? That's right. Who are you? Jeff, we're the troops stationed in Sensui. You have a what? So we're heading out to drive off that fleet. If there's combat, Lady Riri told us to follow your orders. It's like, Riri did? It's like she mobilized the troops? Who is she? And Java, hey, are you really Water Tribe soldiers? And you see them just all dressed up as fishermen. Java, well, you see. And you have off the coast of Sensui, South Kai fleet. Jav, that Hyo. He said he had no more drug puppets and requested replacements. But does he have enough money for them? Jav, Kazakh South Kai aristocrat. Jav, of course he does. No matter. It's like petty things like drug dealing end today. We'll occupy that town and destroy Koka from the Water Tribe. This kingdom's new ruler is a young man just shy of his 19th birthday. It'll be easier for our emperor to dominate this country than during Il's reign. None of it matters to me as long as I profit. Again, I'll save thoughts for the end of the video. Have somebody get me some Yuno tea. Jeff, Lord Kazakh. It's like, what? There appears to be boats coming this way. It's like, oh ho, have the Water Tribe troops mobilized? We have ways of dealing with them. Jeff, huh? That's all? And you see like 3 or 4 ships heading out to them. So you're making a fuss over 3 measly ships? It's like, I imagine there's some fishermen who set sail because they didn't know any better. Jeff, you really think so? It's like, we see some strange people aboard. Mm-hmm. It's like, if they're in the way, sink them. It's like, yes, sir. Jeff, oh! Ah! My lord! It's like, pipe down. It's time for my Yuno tea, so be quiet. You see Jehas hopped aboard with Gija on his back. Java, huh? What? How did you get on board? And why are you carrying him? Are you bosom friends? It's like, I wanted a more beautiful entrance from. And one of the soldiers goes, they jumped here from those ships. It's like, lies. Who'd be capable of that? Jeff, Lord Kazakh, look! And you see all the soldiers with these axes and Hawkinson are standing there looking all cocky and ready to go. Jeff, they're not soldiers or fishermen. Like, certainly not. We're pirates. Jeff, release the arrows. You see them letting off a flurry of flaming arrows. Jeff, Gah, we're under attack. Bring out the drug puppets. And you see again a bunch of people being brought out. Dug into state with armor and like these giant swords. It's like, Gija, take care of the ship. I'll go sink the neighboring one. Jeff understood as he's just throwing a rope over her to help Sinha climb aboard. And you see Jaya dodging out of the way as he jumps into the air. And you see Gija unleashing his claws. They cut down the troops and the puppets. Java, hold on tight. That's all the soldiers are holding onto this rope. And Gija just grabs and just swings them around and pulls them onto the ship. And Jeff, an attack! It's like, there, kill them, my drug puppets! Jeff, Captain Ramaru! And with a giant thwack, Cox's glaive just comes flying out of the side, into the side and sends the puppets flying. Jeff, thank you for your aid. It's like, you know that getup doesn't suit you at all. Thanks to General Jungji's training, lots of Water Tribe soldiers have impeccable manners. Sky, well, that's true. Playing at being a hoodlum is difficult. It's like, did Riri's bodyguard think of that detail? It's like, yes. If the Water Tribe troops mobilize, South Kai will have the justification to start a war. So we're pretending to be pirates to drive them away. It's like, that aside, I must ask, what are you people? It's like, oh, just think of them as weird performance artists. Performance artists? Them? It's like, honestly, I thought we had no chance with so few of us. I'm glad I trusted Lady Riri and her friends. It's like, oh, did the red-haired girl say something by chance? It's like, no, it was Lady Riri's bodyguard. He said we'd win the day because the Thunder Beast is here. Oh, God. Come on, put 2 and 2 together. You hear a loud boom and a, what was that? Look, an explosion on that ship. Yeah, the ship is taking on water. It's like, hurry and repair it. And you see well-done divers. And you see all the women swimming towards the ship with these little box of bombs on their head. So they apparently go, place it on the stern of the ship to blow it up. I wasn't drilling holes, but I was pretty much spot on with the idea. So you see them going, we've placed all the bombs. Like, great job, come on up. Java, curses, I won't be defeated by pirates. Java, Huck, stop standing around and give us a hand, will ya? And Java, sure. as he just grabs a rope and swings in and faces off with this giant bear of a man holding these two axes. And he has a look of like quiet concentration as he's thinking, because the Thunder Beast is here? Jeff, a what? Hold on, what's happening? Things don't look right offshore. Jeff, reporting, sir. It seems Lord Kozak's fleet is under attack. It's like, under attack? How? By whom? Like, we don't know. And you see him just, again, like, comical reaction. He kind of like slumps down. And you have and there's one more thing. And he's like, what? It's like the red-haired girl has been sighted again. You have incredible. I never would have imagined we could sink a fleet with this number of soldiers. And you hear, I assume that's Suwon going, the Thunder Beast really is there. And Judo just glares at him and is like, oh. It's like, well, oh no, sorry, I saw one of the other guards, saying the Thunder Beast is really there. And Judo glares at him, and Suwon goes, well, I dare say Hyo must be gazing out at the ocean right about now. You have Chapter 90, the focus of his rage. You have the red-haired girl, Where exactly? You have reports placed her at the harbor. We saw no sign of the monsters who usually accompany her. It's like the harbor. Ah, I see. Did she do it again? Did that girl interfere with my plans again? And you see his eyes are just like blacked out. And he goes, well, it's like, of course she did. I have to kill her as soon as possible. But not quickly, oh no. I'll cut off her ears, then her nose, carve pieces from her chest and thighs. I'll rip her apart. Hurry and summon my drug puppies from other towns. That girl. As long as I kill that girl. And you have young lady, here, hop on. And Zeno's offering a piggyback. He goes, your back must still be hurting. Let Zeno carry you. And Yona's like, what? It's like, Zeno's sturdier than he looks. And Riri's like, your injuries haven't healed, Yona? She's like, I'm fine. And Suwon's like, what's wrong? It's like, well, it's fine, Riri. It's like, she fought Hyo and he slashed her back. It hasn't healed yet. It's like, Juan, you're quite skilled, right? I'm not injured, so could you guard Yona instead? And you have a huh? And Yona goes out, Riri! It's like, I'm all right, honest. It's like, no, you're not. You never know your limits. And you hear a young lady, and then Zeno looks in surprise. I don't know if that's surprise or if he senses something with instinct, but he looks back and he sees two of the goons, so I think it's probably instinct. He looks behind. He sees two of the goons aiming arrows at her. So he goes out in front of Yona with shields and goes, get down! They're firing arrows! And as he's like trying to defend, as he's like covering to protect Yona, Suwon stands in front of them. Judo gets in front of them and slashes down the arrows with a sword. And I think Yona's surprised with the fact that, Suwon stepped in to protect them. And you have a get back as they set off more arrows. You have what? It's like, enemy attack, take cover. It's like, did they realize we mobilized the troops? No. They're aiming for... And Yona goes, me. You have a whoop and an eek as another arrow goes flying over Riri's head. You have, they're behind us too. And Yona grabs one of the arrows and gets ready to notch it to her bow. And Suwon grabs her hand and goes, don't do it. You'll get an arrow to the head for your trouble. And she's like, let go. It's like, what's more? It's like, yes, I was right. It's poisoned. Better not touch the arrowhead. He goes, keep back. And Zeno's like, young lady, you should do as he says. Don't do anything rash. And you have a moi, Gook, protect Lady Riri and the others. You have, yes, sir. It's like, Judo, get behind them. I'll take the front. And you have, yes. And you see them dashing to either side. As Reno's trying to make Yona feel a bit of a rub in her head. It's like, what, Zeno? It's like, whenever that young man is near you, you lose... Whenever that young man is near you, you lose your composure. It's like, he stopped you because he's worried about the wound on your back. And Yona's like, I highly doubt it. And Zeno's like, What Zeno's trying to say is, there's only one person who's your enemy right now. You're smart. If you think we should take action, Zeno will help you. And you see Suwon running up the stairs towards one of the archers who pulls out what I assume is a nunchuck. Suwon just pulls out his sword and slashes him down. And you see as he does, even with his chest dripping blood, he gets back up. Goes poisoned arrows and a drug that suppresses pain. Hyo has corrupted this land, and I have a good sense of his nature. So were you once a peaceful citizen of the Water Tribe? Again, we'll get to that at the end. And you see him with another slash. He's got this like a look of determination focused on his face. And you see a whoosh as another arrow goes flying past him. It's like it came from that roof. And you see a shunk as an arrow takes the archer on the roof in the side. And he looks down and surprised to see that Yona's fired off a shot. And you have a young lady. And she looks away and they both just kind of looks at each other for a minute and then turn and walk away. And you have Judo going, "Is His Majesty all right?" And you see Yona letting loose another shot from her bow with a whoosh, as Judo's also watching in surprise. And he goes, "I'd prefer you stayed put." And she goes, "I'll follow my own judgment, thank you. Besides, they're after me. You should keep your distance." And he thinks back to when she was just a kid, going, "You're so grumpy, Judo, and too loud. My ears are ringing. It's like if you just listened, I'd be quieter." And you see him kind of having not remorseful, I guess, regretful look on his face. And he goes, "I have never wished for your death. I wish you'd made a new life somewhere far, far away where I couldn't see you." And you see another one of the big hulking looking puppets coming towards him with an axe. And Judo goes, "I can't be shaken by this." He takes a fighting stance in front of them with both swords drawn and goes, "I chose Suwon as my king. I can't let myself be swayed by my emotions." You have, "What? Another brawl? Look, what's that? There's ships burning offshore." It's like the people are starting to make a fuss about what happened offshore. We need to find Hyo immediately. And you have, "Judging by the Kai fleet, Hyo should have lost many or most of his subordinates. Despite that, he threw what little he had at us. Perhaps Hyo isn't at his residence." And you see a huff of Yona starting to black out as from the pain from her back still affecting her. And you see a "Kill. I'll kill you." And she apparently can sense his bloodlust as she just jolts her out of, she's about to fall unconscious and jolts her out of it. And she says, "I'll kill you. I will." It's like, never, never ever forget your face. Like, this is part of what I'm talking about, like, because these are like really good kind of like horror effects with like the blacked out faces and like the grainy kind of like artifacts. But it gets like so much of it gets undercut by like treating Hyo as being like too comedic, like too campy as a villain. And you see someone pulling out a sword as steps out in front to defend and goes, "Young lady!" Oh, and you see Hyo just rushing at them with this maniacal grin on his face. And you have a whoop and a Z as Zeno steps in front of her. Oh, oh shit. God damn. And you see Chapter 90 end as a furious Huck has stepped in to intercept the blow. And the blades basically caught him like in his arm. And you have Chapter 91, he was a beloved friend. And you have a what? It won't budge. Out of the way. Her. My business is with her. And Huck just lays into him with a punch. Sends Hyo flying with a bwah and a thud. He just falls down, completely knocked out. You see the rest of the dragons jump running up. And Huck just pulls the blade out of his arm with a plish plish. You see blood just pouring out. And you have Yona going, "Huck, you're bleeding." And you see him just staring with like this simmering rage as Suwon steps up in front of him. And you have Suwon. You have, "The princess will confirm it for you. She witnessed the king's death with her own eyes." And you see a plish plish as Huck is thinking back to the first time he escaped with Yona. Arm still dripping blood. Vengeance on his face. As you have Mao and Gook trying to stop him, going, "So stop! Halt! Not one more step! I told you to stop!" And he tries to swing his sword at him, and Huck just clotheslines him out of the way. and sends him flying, just completely knocks him out. The other one, the dark-haired one, tries to go with you, and Huck just grabs his hand, squeezes, and he's ah! I don't know if he crushed his hand or what he did to him. But you see again, just like a look of fury on his face. And Chudo comes in, sword swinging as he cuts him across the chest. Again, you see Huck is just furious, not having any of it. He kicks Judo right in the midsection. Oh shit. Makes him cough up blood and sends him flying with an uppercut. And Judo's just coughing up blood from the force of these blows. And Huck just continues steadily walking towards him. And as he's reaching out to grab him, J-Hawk grabs his hand to stop him. And he goes, move. So, do you know them? You must have your reasons. But they're Riri's bodyguards. They helped us in this battle. They were on our side. And Huck's like, our side? On our side? And you can see his fingers still trying to like reach out for Suon. And he goes, this is intense bloodlust. He truly wants to kill that man? It's like, listen, lower your arm. You've lost too much blood. We'll get you patched up. And you have him going, let go. It's like, as soon as you calm down, he's like, let go! And he just sogs J-Hawk right in the solar plexus with a wham. And you see him just bent over coughing as he goes, how menacing. Honestly, I can't let this slide. And he just kicks Huck in the face and he staggers a little bit. Ooh, hurry and pass out, will ya? So you guys still alive over there? I'll hold him here. Get going. And you see Huck's just completely lost all reason as he keeps trying to punch him and J-Hawk blocks with his leg. Jeff, Gija, some help please. So, but this is, Huck could die if he keeps this up. And you have Judo going, your majesty. As they're taking him away, I think Suwon's a little bit taken aback by just the sheer like anger and disdain and rage and hatred radiating off of Huck as he's staring at him with murder in his eyes. And he's screaming, and as Dragon Boy, he's going, let go! Let go! I will never forgive him! And he flashes back to their childhood. Excuse me, my throat's getting dry from all that. And you see Yona coming up and gently putting a hand on his arm, her hand on his bleeding hand, and goes, Huck, it's all right. I'm all right. And you see him just kind of slowly lowering his hand. So you have Chapter 92, Searching the Skies for That Smile. You have Ronmaru, how are things in town? You have, we captured most of Hyo's remaining henchmen in Sensui in the last battle, but Nadai has caused extensive harm throughout the Water Tribe. There aren't many places to rehabilitate addicts, and we keep finding more and more afflicted people. It's like, it looks like it'll take a lot of time and resources before we can fully eradicate Nadai. It's like, it's now been several days since we sank the South Kai fleet. In Sensui, we're gathering up Nadai and capturing Hyo's remaining henchmen. It's like, I can't believe it all really happened. Those South Kai ships that no one here could stand up to have been sunk, and the trafficker Hyo was in custody. But since then, we've seen no sign of the man who took Hyo down, or the heroes who sank those ships. Lady Riri, do you know who they are, or where they went? And she thinks back to the throwdown between Huck and the others. It's like, Lady Riri? It's like, I'm afraid I have no idea. Let's focus on helping the Nadai victims as quickly as possible. It's like, yes. You have that day. I didn't have a chance to interrupt Yona and her companions. My bodyguards moved on, and as they left, I heard Judo address Juan as Your Majesty. That was King Suon. So who is that girl really? That red-haired girl who did everything she could to help the Water Tribe. And you hear, Riri, you came! As you see Yona's doing some sword practice. You have, honestly, with Hyo taken care of, there's no need for you to camp this far out of town. And she goes, the town's still full of soldiers. We can't risk the attention. And she just gives her a giant package and goes, fine. Anyway, here, rations. It's like, thank you. It's a big help. It's like, Riri, we're... It's like, oh, it's like, sorry, but I still have tons of things to take care of in town. Bye. It's like, what? It's like, I'll come see you again, so don't leave. She just abruptly kind of turns away, and Yona's like, oh, okay. It's like, I didn't get to tell her we're leaving the day after tomorrow. So Riri's the Water Tribe's chief's daughter, right? Maybe it's better not to get too involved with her. After everything that happened, she must have figured out who her bodyguards were. At the time, we didn't know either. So I'm sorry for not telling you. But Riri's alright. We fought together, so I can tell. Yun's like, alright then. Shall we have lunch? It's like, sure. It's like, hey Yun, is Huck healing up okay? He's like, the wound on his arm's kind of deep, but don't worry. I'll make sure it heals properly. You see later Gija going into the tent and going, Huck? It's like, I bought your lunch. He goes, thanks. And as he's eating, he's like, what? It's like, if moving your arm hurts, I can feed you. It's like, that's not necessary. You don't even need to bring my food. It's like, okay, next time I won't. And you see some bruises on Gija's face, and Huck's looking at them. And he goes, oh. And he thinks back to Huck just punching him in the face. It's like, this is a giant mosquito bite. I can't bear the itching. He just tries to crawl away all smooth. You have Gija, here's your lunch. Don't let it get cold. And you see that Jeha's also pretty bruised up. It's like, I meant to tell Huck that I wouldn't stop him next time. But I wound up not saying anything. I didn't know that man was Suon, the one who assassinated the late King Il. He's the focus of all of Huck's grief and rage. I sensed it in Awa too. Given how strangely Huck was acting, I figured something had to be up. Did doing what I did make things worse? It's like he understands that we were trying to protect him. Jeha just kind of smiles regretfully. And you see later as Yona's bundling up some firewood, you have Huck. So it'll be dark soon. You should come back to the camp. And as they're walking back together, she just glances up at him, thinking back to how rage-induced, I guess. Is that a word? Rage-induced he was. You have an O and a hoist. As he grabs the bundle of wood, and she snatches it back with a nope. Your arm hasn't healed yet. And he's like, this? It's nothing. As he just he takes the bundle back and shifts it to his other arm. And then she grabs his injured arm and goes, see? You have no grip. And he just gives her arm a little squeeze. He's like, ow, how can you possibly squeeze so hard when you're hurt? Are your muscles made of steel? And you see him just smiling and laughing again. She goes, Huck smiled. And she stops walking. He's like, princess? He's like, oh. It's like, huh? It's like, huh? And you see her tearing up again. It's like, Huck finally smiled. It's like, nothing's wrong. I'm just relieved. Somehow I always let you see me being vulnerable. He comes up and just kind of grabs her and puts her face in his chest and kind of hugs her and goes, I didn't see a thing. It's like he still treats me with so much consideration, even after everything that's happened. And she just kind of hugs him tightly and goes, please, please God, heal Huck's wounds. And you see back at Hiryu Palace, his hawk is coming down to greet him. He's like, I'm home, Gulfan. Jeff, welcome back, King Suon. He's like, Advisor Kashuk, you said you were going to survey the Water Tribe, but what a hurried return. I'd prefer you didn't do any more undercover work. It's like, did something happen? It's like, well, I got caught up in a Water Tribe conflict. Moi and Gook were injured. It's like, what? Are you all right, Your Majesty? It's like, not a scratch on me, but please summon a physician. These two need prompt treatment. It's like, I said you should have taken more guards. Honestly. And he just kind of bustles away angrily. You have General Judo. You should get looked over too. You're pretty badly injured. You have General? It's like, why? Why didn't you move? It was as if you were rooted to the ground. Like, why didn't you draw your sword? At a moment like that, you draw your weapon. Or were you so overcome with sentiment that you're going to let him take your head? You need to unite the 5 tribes and protect our nation from outside invasion. You're prepared to sacrifice everything. I chose you because of your commitment. If you want to die, then do it after you've achieved all your goals. And you see he's silent for a second before he goes, I never believed that I should throw away my life. I'm sorry. At that moment, for some reason, I was frozen in place. Next time, I'll cut him down. And you see him just having this regretful look on his face. He goes, please summon Advisor Kashuk. It's like, yes. Send a message to all the tribe chiefs. The 5-tribe council will be having a meeting at once. And you see Judo just kind of abruptly doing like a heel turn and walking away. So you have go out and play Golfon. And as he takes root, he kind of also flashes back to the childhood. So you have chapter 93, please be careful. Do you have a what? You're leaving tomorrow? It's like, uh-huh. We took care of Hyo and there are more soldiers now. I see. Actually, I was thinking it was about time I headed back to Suiko too. It's like, that makes sense. It's like, bye Riri, take care. It's like, you too. You see her just looking all sad and gloomy the next day. It's like, Lady Riri, what's wrong? So what happened to her? She's been running around non-stop dealing with Nadai. Maybe she's exhausted. It's like, Lady Riri? It's like, she's been staying at the troop barracks. She said that so casually, like it was nothing. I knew this would happen, but tomorrow? When will we meet again? It's like, oh, think it's a man? It's like, did someone break her heart? And she's like, do you want to be sacked? I'll fire you. It's like, my apologies. Don't be like that, Lady Riri. Don't say such things so flippantly. It's like, and you see Tetra and Ira making their entrance. As Ira goes, even if you don't mean it. You have Tetra, Ira, what are you doing here? So we were told we could find you here. It's like, but you're still supposed to be resting and recovering, Tetra. It's like, Lady Riri, forgive me. And she kind of puts her hand up as if she's about to slap her. She kind of braces for impact. Instead, she kind of just gently brushes the tears away. And she goes in for a hug and goes, oh, you silly girl. Why did you do something so dangerous? Please don't worry us like that. It's like, you could have just slapped me, you know. It's like, I'm sorry, both of you. And you see, well, did Yona dump you? It's like, don't be ridiculous. I said she was leaving tomorrow. It's like, I'll take that as a yes. Oh, come on. It's fine. I'm fine. I've said my goodbyes. It's like, now, don't let pride make you do something you'll regret. It's like, Tetra, should you really be up? It's like, of course. And later on, I want you to tell me all about your heroism and sensui. It's like, I want to ask. It's like, there's nothing like that to tell. It's like how father is doing. But I can't scrounge up the courage. Do you have Riri? It's like, oh, Ira and Tetra. And you see them just bowing deeply to Yona and going, it's been some time since we've seen you all. Thank you for protecting Lady Riri. Like, she helped us a lot too. It's like, I'm glad you came. We were just about to go looking for you. So, oh? So we parted ways on a sad note yesterday. I was thinking we could eat dinner together. Jeff, Yona, it's like, your exact words were bye, take care. It's like, huh? A sad note is not what I'd call it. And now you don't even understand what you did wrong? It's getting on my nerves. And you see they're buying up some nice seafood. You have shrimp, crab, clams. It's like Riri and her charming ladies bought lots of food. You have a sizzle. It's like, my, you're quite good at that. It's like, it's fried noodles with pork and scallions. It's like, oh, wait, you should add some peppercorn oil. It's the Water Tribe's classic spicy seasoning. It's like, all right, I'll hop off and get some. It's like, I'll taste great, I promise. It's like, I'd like some soup. What about dumplings? That sounds lovely, Ira. Sorry. Let's make the Water Tribe special boiled dumplings. That sounds delicious. Teach me to make them. See this grand seafood feast laid out. Yeah, the spicy noodles with pork and scallions are wonderful. And the boiled dumplings are so juicy as they're just gobbling down the food. You have Gija, that oyster isn't going to attack you. Gija's kind of just like poking at it. I can't believe we get to have such incredible food without having to work for it. It's like, what do you usually eat? And yeah, what's wrong, Riri? It's like, I've never eaten oysters and clams like this. I've only ever had them after they've been seasoned and prepared. It's like, isn't it tasty? Eating outdoors is pretty great too. I'm glad we got to talk today. It's like, you're the only person to say you enjoy talking to me. It's like, really? I think you're fascinating. It's like, what's that supposed to mean? I see Tetra commenting, I'd say Lady Riri is enjoying herself. It's like, it's too soon. You see, as she's trying to grab a drink, Ira grabs it away and goes, it's too soon for that. You barely managed the walk here. It's like, spoil sport. Let me have some fun. Lady Riri's safe. She seems happy. She even seems a bit more respectable. It's like, and there are some beautiful men here. It's like, I'll go check in on one of them. And Ira's like, fun is one thing, but don't overdo it. And you see her going up to Huck going, hello there, Huck. Would you like a drink? And she pours him a small tot. So were the raw oysters to your liking? It's like, yeah, seafood here is really impressive. It's like, I hear you can catch fish in the Wind Tribe's ports that can't be found here. Why'd you mention that? It's like, no reason. I just like to go there sometime. You know, I've seen that glaive before, back when King Il was still alive. I seem to recall it was at a martial arts tournament at Hiryu Palace. It was wielded by someone called the Thunder Beast, who truly seemed as strong as lightning. Ira and I were both there. It's like, that girl's your chief's daughter, isn't she? It's like, oh, I see you have us figured out. The Sensui troops united because she had the golden seal of water. So what happens now? Will you report us to Anjunji? And you see a little plip plip as rain starts falling. And you see Owl's just stuffed himself full of delicious food. Jeff, what a shame. The sake was so good. It's like, everyone retreat! Guard the food with your life! It's like, you can grapple with the shellfish later, Gija. Carry the noodles! Jeff, whoa, I'm getting wet. It's like, Riri, this way. It's like, okay. It's like, Zeno too. It's like, me too. It's like, no, gentlemen, you're coming this way. And you see them all taken to a separate crowded tent. You see Suna just crouched on the ground, just still picking away at the food. Yeah, what's going on here? And Tetra goes, as I've mentioned, I have devoted my life to Lord Anjunji and Lady Riri. I'll do anything that will be of service to Lord Junji. However, I'm not foolish enough to believe that they are all that matters. This tribe owes a great deal to all of you. I've heard the stories that the princess of Hiryu Palace was abducted and murdered by a servant. Finding the truth was difficult. I can only imagine the kinds of hardships you endured. It's like Yona's distant gaze is not that of a naive 16-year-old princess. You are precious to Lady Riri and to us, so we'll say only this. Wherever your journey takes you, please be careful. And you see in the other tent, Yona and Riri are kind of crowded together. Yeah, the Water Tribe territories get so much rain. It was raining the day that we got here. It's like, it's much worse during the rainy season. Yona's like, I grabbed some crab and meatball spring rolls. Like, oh, thanks. Is this how you usually live? Like, the tent is a bit leaky and the ground is hard, but once you're used to it, it's not too bad. I think the rain here is beautiful. Java, listen. I'm thinking of creating a lot of clinics in Sensui and Shisen. The clinics? It's like, yes. Even if we capture Hyo's men, the town is still full of Nadai victims. There aren't enough facilities to treat them. I want to heal them of Nadai's effects and return them to their peaceful lives. That's the goal. And Hyona's like, good. But to do that, I need my father's help. Unfortunately, he doesn't acknowledge any of the problems. He never hears what I have to say. I don't know how he can call himself a general. It's like, oh no, I started complaining about petty things. And Yona's like, I think fathers never know what their daughters are thinking. But try to be there for him. If he needs help, do the best you can. Even if you don't understand him, don't abandon him. And Jeff, Yona, I'm the Water Tribe Chief's daughter. I kept quiet about it. I have no real power, and I'm sure you have no reason to trust me, but... Jeff, Riri, it's like, I have to ask this. I want to know more about you. Are you the princess who vanished? The murdered princess? And you have the expression on her face said it all. And you see her start crying, Riri crying. It's like, why are you crying? It's like, this is pathetic. You saved me over and over again, and yet there's nothing I can do to help you. There's nothing I can say. It's like, listen, okay? If you're ever in trouble or need a shoulder to cry on, send word to me. I'll be there as fast as I can. Count on it. From here on out, she's like, I'm not very strong, but I'll still follow you. I'll devote myself to protecting you. Try to remember me at least a little bit. Yona smiles and goes, I could never forget a friend I went into battle with. Like, she called me a friend. It's like, I'm too embarrassed and scared to say that. It's like, you're unbelievable. She just kind of gently headbutts her. It's like, huh? It's like the rain kept coming down hard all through the night. By daybreak, the red-haired princess and her companions had disappeared. I hope the morning sun will light their way. Jeff, Lady Riri, do you have the golden seal of water? General Junji has summoned you. And as for me, he goes, please return to Suiko Palace immediately. My battle has just begun. And you see, Lady Riri, please return to Suiko Palace immediately. And she goes, you can take the golden seal of water back with you. I still have things to take care of here. I'll return to Suiko once I'm done. Tell my father that. You have Lady Riri, how long will you act so willful? And you see, Father? So you have chapter 94, Time Doesn't Stop Moving. It's like, I'm surprised. It didn't occur to me you'd come all the way to Sensui. It's like, do you have any idea what you've done? And she's like, have you looked around at this town? Until a few days ago, it's like, I received the report. So then, you stole the golden seal of water, the very symbol of the water tribe chief. With it, you took power. Such a crime is punishable by death. She kind of clenches her hands. It's like, death. However, our tribe regards capital punishment as barbaric. It is not our way. Therefore, on Riri, I banish you from Suiko Palace. You have, wait, I beg you, as Tetra comes and heels in front and goes, Lady Riri acted as she did in hopes of saving the water tribe. Please, please grant her clemency. Ira's like, I was responsible for stopping Lady Riri and I failed. Let me be the one punished. She's like, Ira, Tetra, there's no need to despair. It's like, don't worry. I found my path with that girl and her friends. I regret nothing. It's like, I've decided to fight. It's like, my mind is made up. The golden seal of water is a symbol of authority. It should never be wielded carelessly. I accept my punishment. He's like, your determination is admirable. I've prepared an appropriate prison for you. You will remain there. You have Lord Jungji. And as she's being escorted away, you have General Jungji. The 5-tribe council has been ordered to convene. Please set out for Hiryu Palace. He's like, hey, 5-tribe council meeting now? It's like, General, well, since I'm out already, we'll send a message to Hiryu Palace. Tell them that I'll be a little late. And you see a few days later, Sky Tribe King Suwon and General Han Judo in the Hiryu Palace throne room, Earth Tribe General Yi Guntae, Fire Tribe General Kang Kyoga, Wind Tribe General Taeyu, and Water Tribe General An Jungji. Jeff, I'm still not used to this new group of faces. It's like, how can you just sit there calmly drinking tea like you weren't late, old man? And Guntae's like, you should try some of our Yuno tea as well, boy, and buy some. It's like, no way, that tea's smelly. I know, right? It really is. It's like, Guntae, the 5-tribe council is no place to shop your wife's tea around. Hurry and get it out of here. He's like, oh, apologies. It must be upsetting to be reminded that not everyone's single like you. And Judo's like, you bastard. It's like, fret not, General Judo. I've had some green tea prepared as well. It's like, that's not the point. It's like, General Judo, your language. You see that he and Guntae are at each other's throats. So you have, as a new member, I'm terribly sorry to interrupt, but is the 5-tribe council always like this? And I can't remember Advisor Bro's name. What was Advisor Bro's name? Kishuk. Kishuk goes, thank you for reining everyone in with that condescending glower, General Kang Kyoga. It's like, hey, new Fire Tribe General, you should let your hair down. Turn into a stuffy guy like Advisor Kishuk here. You have an ahem, the king has something to say. Suwon's like, first off, I'm glad you've all arrived safely. Guntae's like, he's as carefree as always. It's like, law and order have begun to be restored in Fire Tribe lands, and for now the treaty with Sen province has been upheld. It's like, thankfully, the northern border appears to be secure. To get to the worrying part, it's like, it's the northwestern region of Koka, along the border of the Earth Tribe in South Kai. This region once belonged to Koka and was annexed during the reign of King Il. The northwestern border is always under threat from the Kai Empire. In order to protect our nation, we must strengthen that front. It's like, King Suwon, are you saying? Goes, our northwestern region of Koka is going to war against South Kai. And you see all the generals reacting in surprise. As Guntae goes, it's finally happening, All 5 tribes' armies must work together to achieve victory. Yeah, the Earth Tribe has no objections. And An's like, that's unsurprising. It's like, excuse me? It's like, is the Water Tribe planning to sit back and watch from the sidelines again? Yeah, General Jungji, are you under the impression that you have no stake in this? According to our intel, the Water Tribe's coastal region was attacked by a South Kai fleet, but the fleet was pushed back. Sooner or later, there will be retaliation against Koka. Don't you think the Water Tribe holds some responsibility for its hasty actions? He thinks of his daughter and goes, you needn't remind me. I am fully aware of the situation, Advisor. And Keisha's like, but so my people's blood was shed as they fought to defend their pride as a tribe and to defend this nation we share. I won't have you calling their actions hasty. Thinks back to his daughter, telling him, Father, if you decide to do this, I'll do whatever you need me to. I'll fight right alongside you. And he goes, Riri, so many times I've cooped you up for leaping head first into danger, but every time you came out stronger. Even now, as this council deliberates, I expect you're looking even further ahead than I ever would have imagined. I dreamed that my daughter would inherit a world without war. And he goes, Your Majesty, the Water Tribe has never liked war. We're a peaceful people with a spirit like flowing water. But when a dam breaks open, water has the strength to swallow and overwhelm everything in its path. Once a torrent is unleashed, nothing can stop it. My people are filled with rage at their oppression and persecution. I will do all I can to eradicate South Kai's influence. And you see the other generals shocked by this, as you have General Jungji has always cautiously held back and observed. He's expressed willingness to take action at last. And Judo's like the 5 general tribes are finally united. And Kunte's like things will happen in this era. You have war. And you see, on this day, the 5-tribe council agreed to send troops of the Kai Empire to reclaim lands belonging to the northwestern region of Koka. And you see later, Zeno standing on a hill somewhere, watching some birds take flight. You have Zeno, what's the matter? We're going. And you see him kind of going back to his happy, bubbly self. And you have Riri going, let me get this straight. This is meant to be a prison? And you see her just hanging out by a little pond outside. Yeah, it's quite cozy, isn't it? It's a little too cozy. I thought I'd been banished. He banished me to Sensui? There's still so much I have to do here. It's like all the Nadai victims and merchants who Hyo exploited. We've already prepared a facility for Nadai victims and the formation of a new defense force. It's like, huh? The same orders were given for Shisen. The general arranged for it just before he left for the 5-tribe council. It's like, he what? It's like General Jungji was trying to avoid conflict with South Kai because he believed that was best for our people. The thing that changed his mind was your strong will. It's like, is that true? So the long and the short of it is, he loves you very much. He was finally able to step back and gain perspective on you. There are no locks to be found here. Unlike all the times he locked you in your chambers at the palace. It's like, but wasn't I banished? It's like, I think he's saying this is the path you've chosen for this land. See it through to the end. I think he was trying to give you a push forward. And you have her getting all embarrassed going, Gah! Father, you dummy! How was I supposed to know that? It's like, Ira, Tetra! It's like, yes. Like, yes. We're heading into town. Follow me. Alright. I gotta say, I'm not the biggest fan of this arc overall and how abruptly and neatly everything was tied up. Like, I fully expected, like, the initial, like, the Kai Empire's troops coming in, the nobles would be, like, the start of, like, a bigger conflict, but it ended, like, too quickly and neatly for me. And I think part of the problem, I guess it was kind of not foreshadowed, but I guess it was kind of, foreshadowed for lack of a better word. Because again, like, I don't know why Kusanagi-san had such a hard time actually making the villains of this arc, actual, like, legitimate threats, and why they kept kind of just undercutting them by making them kind of over-the-top campy as villains. Like, they didn't really kind of possess, like, an aura of, like, intimidation or, like, anything like that. Like, it didn't create, like, any kind of tension. Like, yeah, it's like we're told, like, oh, the fleet is coming, like, what are we going to be able to do? Like, and they kind of swept it a little bit too easily. Like, it wasn't even fighting. Like, there's no, like, loss of lives, no, like, really grievous or sustained injuries apart from, Huck getting stabbed. There wasn't really, like, much that happened. Like, I don't know, like, it just felt too abrupt. Like, they wanted to either end this arc quickly or they didn't really want to deal with the drug stuff anymore. So they're kind of like, I just want to wrap it up with a neat little bow and move on to something else. Which brings me to the drug stuff. Like again, on the one hand, I'm kind of glad that they didn't try to like go for a more approach, nuanced approach and examination of the drug trade and like the use of it and like criminalizing it and like addiction rehabilitation and stuff like that, because it has the potential to become very messy very very easily. And I think even though they did only kind of skimmed it, I think they still fell into some of the pitfalls, as I mentioned in some of my other videos, kind of with the moralizing about what kind of people use drugs, the fact that there was really no kind of sympathy or nuance presented with regards to the people who are addicted to the die that became the zombie puppets, with how like over the top campy the villains are, kind of like undercutting a lot of that as well. And it feels like they want feels like again like with the wrap up at the end, like when they said like, oh, we're building rehabilitation facilities and everything. Like I appreciate them trying to put like a positive spin and note on it and be like, yeah, hey, like drug use is serious. Like people affected by it should be able to seek proper help. They should be afforded assistance to try and like deal with it. But again, given like how one dimensional like the portrayal of it was, you also get the solutions and like the solutions to it and the conflict overall also being kind of like one dimensional and simple presenting, being like, oh, like, yeah, it's it. We'll just rehabilitate everyone. Like, yeah, it'll be long and hard, but we're gonna set up all these clinics. Like, we'll get them clean, and then the tribe will go back to being perfect and peaceful and everything again. Like, I don't think this. Like, I think the biggest failing of this arc was it didn't really give us a sense of what the water tribe is, what its customs are, what its people are like, what its culture is like. We didn't get a sense of any of that except for like the hastily rushed little mini seafood feast they had at the end, like the mentions of like, oh, this is the delicacies that we're famous for. And like the repeated assertions like, oh, the water tribe is really, really pretty. Like, oh, it's such a beautiful place. Like, it felt really, really shallow, and I'm a little bit disappointed that that's what we got. Like, maybe this is all too premature and we are eventually going to get, a return to the water tribe. We'll eventually get like a deeper examination of it, but it all felt very one dimensional. I was a little bit let down by that because it felt like it had a lot of strong potential and build up right at the start, and it feels like it fizzled up very, very quickly. But yeah, it's still entertaining. Like I think the parts I liked about it most were Huck's reunion with Suwon, where you see how he still hasn't fully come to terms with or contended with his anger and his grief regarding Suwon's betrayal and everything else. Like Yona's had a couple of chances to just like meet him to iron out her feelings a little bit, but Huck hasn't had the same opportunities, and given kind of like how reserved he always is, I think he's been bottling it up a lot inside himself, and I think that seeing Suwon kind of triggered all these emotions all at once, which is kind of like why he was so focused and intent on just kind of going over there and murdering him. So I hope we get a little bit more development on that, as well as he tries to come to terms with his feelings. I think that was by far the best part of this volume. We'll see now, because again, like with Huck, we kind of got the intimidation and the intimidation that we're looking for with the villains. Like you could feel the unease and the tension when he was like kind of going for Suwon. Like everyone was trying their best to stop me. Like you could feel the unease and tension in the air in a way you couldn't feel it with the actual villains of this arc specifically. So again, a little bit disappointing. I'm hoping the X arc is a little bit of a stronger showing. But yeah, apart from that, like I said, mixed arc overall. I enjoyed parts of it. What I'm looking forward to like the bigger plot. I want to say bigger plot, the main plot. That doesn't even sound right because there isn't really like an actual main plot as of yet. But I'm looking forward, actually seeing like an expansion on this, like seeing more of Suwon's aims kind of coming to light. It'll be interesting to see how like Yona and all fit into all of that. Yeah, look forward to that. I don't know when the next Yona read-throughs will be. I don't think it's going to be this weekend. So maybe weekend after this one, so maybe October 1st is weekend. Maybe I'll have the Yona read-throughs back for the next volumes then. I'll have a channel update out before then, so look forward to that for more details regarding like when, what, where, and all that. I'll also look at probably potentially bringing back another series to do our read-throughs for, just to bring back a little bit of variety, so look forward to that as well. There'll be an announcement along with the channel update stuff. As always, if you like my content, please do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I would really like for these Yona videos to be doing better because they right now are not doing as great as I'd hoped. So really appreciate it if you could show these ones some support and love. Like I mentioned the last couple of times, I'd also really appreciate it if you could help me get to the magic subscriber number, because honestly, just make me laugh. Would also just be really great and would mean a lot to me. So yeah, like I said, look for channel update videos and the usual Shonen Jump stuff this weekend. Till next time, this is Ash. I will talk to you all later.